Just because the video title says Part 2, don't be mistaken for a drop in quality.
This is Danny Garcia at his best.
There were so many great suggestions in the comment section from Part 1, we felt we had to dig up 25 more punches that changed the sport forever. Before we start, I just want to say a quick thanks to everyone that left a like on the last video. I'm lucky to have the great subscriber base I have, and honestly, you give me the motivation to keep making videos. Tommy Morrison and Ray Mercer are just another reason why 90s heavyweight boxing was unprecedented. The fact that these two struggled to hold a version of a world title speaks volumes for how jam-packed the division was back then. Both could punch extremely hard, and both had real championship qualities about their game. But when they clashed for the WBO title back in 1991, Mercer proved once again why his nickname was Merciless.
Just that nervousness. Mercer with two good right hands. And now Mercer on Morrison in the corner. And Mercer's all over him, and Morrison in trouble. And Morrison goes down for the first time in his career. And that is it.
That's it.
It is it. Over. Ray Mercer has won it. He successfully defended his WBO heavyweight.
You will struggle to come across a more inspirational knockout than when Danny Williams battled through a dislocated shoulder in his fight with Mark Potter in 2000.
And Danny Williams has got a problem with his shoulder. I think it's come out of his socket. Yes, look how limp it is. He can't throw it.
He's not throwing it at all. Yeah, there's a problem there, definitely.
And Potter's seen it. He's going in with the left hooks. And Jim McDonald's looking on. I don't know whether they're going to pull Williams out. He's got to go for it, Danny Williams. And still they clap in the corner.
Yeah, they're clapping him forward.
Oh, he's knockout! That's unbelievable from Williams. And Potter is out. I don't know whether he's going to make it. That is astonishing.
My personal favorite middleweight fight ever took place in 1993 when Julian Jackson attempted to defend his WBC title against Gerald McClellan. For me, these two are the hardest punching middleweights ever, and when they met in the ring, it was always going to end in a brutal KO.
He's not going to make this, Bobby. He's not going to make this.
Straight right hand down the pipe, and it was Birdie a lead right hand.
This fight has zero ranking when looking at it from a historical aspect, but the way Courtney Blocker flattened Dominic Good in the 2015 KO of the Year was picture perfect. Listen to the sound of this one.
There's the straight right hand, hurt him a little bit. That's a
Beautiful right hand.
He's out.
Down goes
He's out.
Dominic Good.
Here it comes. Watch the leverage from the bottom of his feet. Boom! Straight right hand. Everything landed solid, Mark. I mean, that's a picture perfect shot.
If you watched Part 1, you'll remember my pick for Mike Tyson was his legendary night against Michael Spinks. It was a brilliant night in Iron Mike's career, but if we're talking just pure savagery, there's no doubt his punch over Michael Jack Johnson in 1985 was the most brutal one-punch knockout of his career.
23-pound weight advantage, and he put it all there.
The right to the head, and it's all over. Goodbye.
I hope he's not hurt because that was a brutal, wide-open punch.
He did not have it.
It was rumored Johnson broke his jaw in the fight. Just another day in the office for Prime Mike. Sucker punches are always well documented when looking back on the crazy nights in the ring, but rarely do you see the punch come from one of the cornermen. Check out the disgusting act committed by Andre Dirrell's uncle after his nephew got knocked out by an illegal punch after the bell.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
My gosh.
That's inappropriate to say the
That's
least.
assault, you guys.
Tell you, Scott, you got a good
Goodness
chair. That's why Scott think he's so mad.
After the punch landed, Dirrell's uncle escaped the building and went on the run from authorities. He managed to evade capture for 2 weeks before he handed himself in, and the opposing corner dropped all charges on him anyway. When you see that this was actually the 26th fastest knockout of all time, you'll definitely be wondering how a fight could possibly end any faster. Check out the 13-second blowout between Jimmy Thunder and Crawford Grimsley in 1997.
Place in his career. He was on a roll. He had won 7 in a row by knockout. And now Grimsley with the first punch. And that looks like it is it.
Why is the referee counting? You don't have to count on that. This fight is over. The referee counted him out.
James Thunder, known as was a quick starter, but we didn't think it would be that quick. Said he had to come up with something very big, and I think he did.
Not much to say for number 17. I assume most of you guys watching at home have seen it already, but I don't think it would be right to make a knockout reel without putting Canelo's 2016 KO of the Year over Amir Khan on here. Khan was actually boxing pretty well in the opening rounds, using his speed to upset the much bigger Canelo. But in round 6, the Mexican turned up the volume and put the gutsy Brit flat on the mat.
As well as taking away his energy and every.
Stopping the fight. And Canelo Alvarez is the first one there.
Not many boxers can boast about the fact that the hardest punch they took through their first 15 fights was by themselves. Yes, you heard that right. Tyson Fury actually landed a flush uppercut on himself during his contest with Lee Swaby in 2009.
Grunting with effort as he unloads. Desperate call on there. Yeah, he's desperate for a knockout, Fury.
September 8th, 2004 was the date Bernard Hopkins made his 18th straight title defense of his middleweight crown. Oscar De La Hoya was undoubtedly his toughest challenge yet, outside of Felix Trinidad a few years prior. B-Hop was outboxing Oscar for the first 9 rounds, and everyone was expecting the two to battle it out to the end. But out of nowhere, Oscar went down on what appeared to be a light body blow, and many of the spectators felt it was a dive. What do you think?
But it didn't seem like it was enough. It was more back on the back part of the rib cage and not so much in the volume earlier. It seemed like it shouldn't have, well, who knows.
Delayed reaction. De La Hoya clearly still reacting to that left hook to the body, and then he took a little shot on the head, but no, unquestionably it was the body shot that finished Oscar De La Hoya in the fight.
Although many people at the time thought it was a dive, I'm fairly confident that the punch did more impact than what meets the eye. To all you guys at home that have been hit in the body, I'm sure you understand. This is the only punch from part 1 and 2 that's not directly from one fight. But I felt it would be an injustice to finish these videos without mentioning the unique punch held by Donovan Razor Ruddock, known as the Smash. Here's a preview of what the punch looks like, kind of like an uppercut jab, but the power he generated on these things throughout his career was amazing.
What a punch, what a delivery, what hand speed.
Left uppercut, Smith goes down.
He's fighting the wrong fight, not using his legs at all.
Good left hook. Goes went down to the second straight. Dumps it down.
The greatest female knockout, hands down, came back in 2004 when the giant 6'6" Vonda Ward stepped in the ring against the legendary Ann Wolfe. Both girls were the best fighters of their time, only 2 losses in their whole careers between them. And with the size advantage massively apparent, you might be surprised who won.
15 knockouts, but how many people were scared of her and did not really fight her?
Oh, big right hand! One punch! That is it! Forget about the count! It is over! Tim Burr! Unbelievable! Let's hope.
Being knocked out normally has only one outcome. Boxer gets hit, boxer goes to sleep. But one of the strangest reactions to a KO happened back in 1995 when Vincent Petway landed a vicious counter left hook that sent Simon Brown to the canvas hard.
And it's that type of fight. Simon gets clipped with a left hook, and Simon may not be able to recover from this one. Counts up to 5 and 6 and 7. He's not going to make it. It's at 8, 9, and 10. Simon Brown knocked out with a left hook.
Sticking to the theme of strange-looking faces on the canvas, it would be criminal to leave out Francisco de Jesus' look of desperation on the mat when he got brutalized by Lamar Parks in 1992.
Bottom line. And there it is. A matter of time. Never, never land. Look at the eyes. He's out. They shouldn't even count. That's all. The eyes tell them.
If there was ever a look to sum up a boxer being completely finished, I think it was this one. I'm not sure if there has ever been such a brutal first-round knockout in the heavyweight division between 2 top contenders as when David Tua met John Ruiz back in 1996. Everyone knew Tua was an up-and-coming power puncher, but he had only fought low-level opponents until this point. No one expected him to annihilate Ruiz this way, and I mean no one.
And John Ruiz, 225.
Listed as having a reach advantage here. We'll see how he uses it. Tua with a big left hook, and Ruiz in trouble. Tua comes right at him. Another big bomb, and Ruiz is down. This could almost be over now. Tua came storming out. It's over. Tony Perez stops it at the count of 5.
Ruiz laid unconscious for a good 5 minutes, but thankfully made a full recovery. When Mayweather retired after beating Ricky Hatton in 2007, most boxing fans knew it would only be a matter of time before we saw the pound-for-pound star back in the ring. But 2 years went by until he eventually made his return, and to the surprise of many, his comeback opponent was none other than Juan Manuel Marquez. The opportunity to earn Mayweather money was far too good for Marquez to turn down, despite actively fighting 2 weight divisions below. But weights aside, this in my opinion was the most glorious performance of Mayweather's career. No one has ever beaten Marquez with such ease. He slipped and counterpunched beautifully all night, and even knocked down the Mexican Warrior in round 2.
He's a tough campaigner, Marquez. And he said he's doing this for the Mexican people, but down he goes! And that was sharp and slick and accurate from Floyd Mayweather. And Juan Manuel Marquez is...
Take on brave warrior Henry Cooper in what was supposed to be a routine victory before he challenged. One of, if not the most satisfying punch in boxing history, landed in the heated 2013 clash between Marcos Maidana and Adrian Broner. The trash-talking done by Broner in the build-up was outrageous to say the least, and most boxing fans were picking the 27-0 fighter to win the bout with relative ease. But you can never count out a man that possesses the power Maidana does, and in round 2 he landed with a sweet left hook and put Broner down for the first time in his career.
Rounds, and there's the right hand lead by Maidana that sticks. Another right hand! Broner goes down for the first time in his career!
He's hurt back,
and he's hurt!
Bernard Hopkins seemed to be defying the laws of aging during his late 40s. He was beating world champion after world champion and looking pretty good doing it. But when he stepped in the ring for the last time in 2016 against Joe Smith Jr. at the age of 51, he was beat up and knocked out of the ring, giving him far from a dream send-off.
2 possible opponents.
Big right hand.
He's out. Outrage. God.
My gosh.
That's
Joe
crazy.
Smith,
That's
who
crazy.
Dan Rayfield suggested as an opponent, has just knocked Bernard Hopkins out of the ring. Out of the ring. And that time, he landed something huge.
And it's a huge win for Joe Smith, and it's still an extraordinary thing to see Bernard Hopkins push.
For those of you that watched part 1, you might remember the casual walk Foreman did just before he obliterated Jerry Cooney. And if you thought that was casual, check out Jersey Joe Walcott's before landing a devastating uppercut on Ezzard Charles. It was so casual, it was like he was walking to the shop to grab a pint of milk.
Oh, a terrific left hook to the jaw, and Charles is down. The champion is down flat on his face.
This was actually an amazing upset victory for Walcott. He had previously failed on 4 attempts for the heavyweight title and entered the bout a 9-1 underdog. We all enjoy watching a younger George Foreman running through guys like they were nothing but pancake batter, waiting to be flattened out and rolled over. But his greatest night in the ring would come 20 years later when he matched up against Michael Moorer for the IBF heavyweight title. Moorer dominated Foreman for 10 rounds until out of nowhere, Big George landed a quick 2-punch combination and became the oldest heavyweight champion of all time.
Good jabs. Michael Moorer needs to go back to working. That's it! It's a short right hand! There is no way he's getting up from that. That is the face of shock and awe there. Joe Cortez finishes the count of 10. George Foreman looks up at the heavens. He is once again down on his knees to pray.
From 1989 to 2003, Roy Jones Jr. had 50 fights with 49 victories, and the only loss on his record was caused by him making a stupid mistake in the first fight with Montel Griffin in 1997.
We are being told that Roy Jones is going to be disqualified.
Just a few months later, the rematch was on, and Jones didn't waste his time, proving he was undoubtedly the best fighter in the world pound for pound.
Round for Roy Jones so far.
And Roy Jones is playing the fainting game, and Griffith is benefiting by it. Whoa, what a left hook. What a left hook.
He's got trouble.
9.
And that's that. Jones gets his vindication,
via a first-round knockout.
One of the most epic clashes of style came back in 1990 when the 68-0 Julio Cesar Chavez took on the 24-0 speed demon Meldrick Taylor. The bout ended up winning the award for the 1990 Fight of the Year, and rightly so.
This is a masterful fight with Meldrick Taylor.
After a grueling 12-round war, Taylor had a clear lead on 2 of the 3 judges' scorecards and just had to make it to the final bell to score a huge upset. But Chavez, being the ultimate champion he was, did his utmost best to turn the fight around.
If he gets up, he probably wins the fight. I can't believe it!
Unbelievable! Richard Steele stopped the fight with fewer than 5 seconds to go.
I have always been convinced the fight was stopped unfairly. Only 2 seconds stood between Taylor's glory of beating one of boxing's greatest ever champions in his prime. But if the ref sees you unfit to continue, I guess he's got to do his job and call an end to the fight. Thanks for watching. This will be the last part of this mini-series, so if you enjoyed it, please remember to hit the like button. And for everyone watching this that's not subscribed already, feel free to join in with the rest of the YouTube boxing world as we make lots of cool videos every week covering the greatest sport in the world. Until next time, fight fans, this is Boxing Legends TV, signing off.